Also, what are we calling this group? Or we call it the SIMPVENGERS?
Well, I suppose we are now.
Yeah, I guess so.
Oh no, the
Great,
internet's
that would
gonna
be a
take
great
something
title
completely
if
different
this.
from the word SIMPVENGERS. Jazzy as shit. By far the most exciting intro we've ever had.
Yeah.
It's Walt Simpson.
We've got a thing going now.
Also, it conveys everything you need to know about the show.
The
Straight away.
Avengers.
Brilliant. So, unlike last time, everybody, we have decided that when we first start, we're not going to start the recording straight away. But instead, because we have musician lads over here,
I have a purpose.
basically, he's going to play it in after we've kind of thrown around a couple of ideas, and then what we're going to do is just kind of like discuss kind of our creative process that led us to this. So, as you can see,
Yeah, none of this spending half an hour trying to weasel our way towards the idea of
Yeah.
a thing we've already decided this morning.
whoa, I haven't decided. I've not been on the call. I've been kind of.
Also, I really
my
hope
box.
that picked up on your Audacity, because it did not pick up entirely on the Discord call. So, good luck.
should
Yeah,
have
it did
done.
pick up. Yeah,
Should have done.
yeah, it should be fine.
Otherwise,
Anyway.
I'll have to record it as a separate file and send it to you later.
So,
Post-production.
we kind of. The thing is, you did miss a big fight earlier, just because we kind of had Jacko W on one side going, God, I hate superhero movies so much. I wish there was a superhero universe for me that was the Avengers or DCU, but better, with characters that I recognise from my favourite cartoon series. And then, basically, we have Mr. Logan over here, goes, I like Wolverine, I really like his first name Logan, I feel like I really identify with that. And I think that really you can't put another character in from another universe because they wouldn't have superpowers. And I was kind of taking a back seat, but we came to a compromise after, I think, 2 hours of vigorous debate to combine basically the idea of having another universe for superhero movies as a cinematic universe. But before we go into kind of the details of that, to decide what superpowers these characters would have. And we decided basically the most iconic animated group probably in existence. I think we can all agree it's Family Guy, but we didn't get the rights to use Family Guy on the podcast. We went for the Family Guy rip-off Simpsons instead. So
God, a bit of me died when you said that.
here we are.
God.
Oh, sorry, it's Family Guy's also a rip-off of American Dads. So it's kind of like it's a three-time. And then you have a rip-off of Simpsons called The Flintstones. So it's kind of bop, 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 all the way down.
Short and concise introduction there, Chris.
Yeah, what?
No worries.
Right. We're giving Simpsons characters superpowers. What more is there to
Well,
Do you wanna
apparently
go
that's
from-
according to Chris.
Do you want to go from
Jealous
bottom to top or top to bottom?
Why would we go bottom to top?
Because then we're building up to the leading characters, the Simpsons. Also, what are we calling this group? Or we call it the SIMPVENGERS?
Well, I suppose we are now.
Yeah, I guess so.
Oh no, the
Great,
internet's
that would
gonna
be a
take
great
something
title
completely
if
different
this-
from the word SIMPVENGERS.
I think it'll be a very good kind of like, if this podcast idea pretty much takes off, I think it's a very good idea to kind of have a tagline for the podcast. And I think a good podcast name is the SIMPVENGERS.
Creators of the SIMPVENGERS.
Creators of the SIMPVENGERS. Love to put that on my CV. Anyway, we could build up to the Simpson family, or we could go in the opposite and kind of end on
alright.
kind of.
Nah, yeah. Nah. Sure. Because that means that we don't give Homer something boring. Like
Also,
super
it
strength or
stops us
something.
from just going straight into the Simpsons video game superpowers that they all have, because
Never
hopefully it'll
played
be a
it,
bit
so-
more creative by then.
I
They don't know
only
about
played
Stephen
Batman
Run.
and-
I mean, I know Bartman's a thing, and that's
Well,
it.
yeah, and
I know
Fat
Lisa can
Homer,
summon the
Homer
Buddha.
the Donut Man or something, and Helium
Sure.
Homer. It's a whole thing.
I think, and I think we are really going to have to struggle with this, because we kind of discussed this, that the pot only really knows all of their Simpson knowledge only comes from the Simpsons games. They've never watched the movie or the TV series, so like some of these characters don't know whether they're in the game, so there might be some confusion there.
I have a prediction that by the end of the show, that I will have the intense urge to rewatch a fuck ton of Simpsons.
It's all on
'Cause I don't know
Disney
about you, but
Plus.
I haven't seen Simpsons in a very, very long time.
No, it's
It's
been a
all on-
while.
Yeah,
At least
Maybe
since I
since,
picked
like-
up the game.
Not long after the movie came out did I stop watching The Simpsons. Right.
yeah.
What's first?
I always got it from DVD.
Fat Tony.
Fat Tony.
I mean, first of all, clearly a supervillain.
Super. I mean,
What would he do?
I
What would he
think
be?
similar to Winter Soldier from the Avengers, Fat Tony is a villain in one movie, but I think redeems himself
Good-
in
good go next.
upcoming movies. 1 second, I've accidentally left the letterbox open, which I get all my mail from, and a fly's just flown in through it. So to avoid any further fly invasions, I'm just going to close that letterbox. It's weird because it's such a small space. You wouldn't think a lot of flies would fly in through it, but
Why
it
are
happens
flies
all
a
the time.
problem?
Because they're in a green room. There's nowhere they can hide. They're always going to be in my vision. I'm going to be seeing them all over the place. It's graceful. Anyway, Fat Tony.
Baffling. Right, Fat Tony.
Now,
The
there's
thing I always think about with Fat Tony is those intense bags under his eyes.
He's
yeah.
very tired.
He's very tired. Maybe
Maybe
he's a
he's a
sleep guy.
caffeine man.
Maybe that's his thing.
Well,
Maybe it's he never sleeps.
Yeah.
Is it that
That's
he
not
has
much
like
of a
some,
superpower.
He's the
does it
hero
have some,
that
like,
never sleeps.
that's some nighttime based powers?
He's the night watchman.
Is
I think he
powered
gets
by
his
the moon or
powers.
something?
Yeah, the moon. He's as powerful
He's got
as
silvery hair as
Meets
well.
this guy
yeah.
because he's
He
Italian.
speaks with a certain lunar serenity.
He
As if
is
that
quite
makes sense.
wise.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not so fast. 7 queens.
I'd say certainly. I
I
think
don't understand.
Fat
that
Tony's
reference.
powers being
Unbelievable.
he hasn't seen the show.
I've
He's
only
only
played
played the
the
game. He's only played the games. He doesn't understand the reference.
All the
No.
Simpsons lore is going to come back to me as we
Yeah. But I agree that lunar-based powers for Fat Tony works very well. I mean, there's
got
always
moonbeams.
the famous Simpsons episode where Fat Tony and Homer Simpson go to the moon and Fat Tony gets trapped there, which is why he hasn't
Right.
appeared as much in the later series, because the Simpsons are very tough on their canon. If something happens in one episode, they stick with it.
Definitely
Stick
stays.
with it. And that's why there's a monorail in the Simpsons Springfield. Always been a monorail. There's never an episode. You'll always see the monorail somewhere in the episode.
It's
It always
always
plays.
chugging along in the background.
Yeah, ever since they introduced it, I respect the Simpsons for it. The fact that they're so on it with their with their reoccurring plot lines and kind of how I say it's better than the MCU in terms of how it all ties together. So good, it's so good. Everything gets thought of.
I think Moonbeams isn't fun enough. I want him to.
I
I want
think-
it to be really cheesy.
I
want him
think
to have, like,
moon-based
he
power.
could spawn tiny moons and he just throws them at people. Like
Well, the moon
it's
is
got-
made of
they're
cheese.
just like rocky snowballs, basically.
The moon is made of
Is it
cheese,
like-
so
Yeah, is it like
Yeah,
a,
fine. They're little silver bits, blob circles of cheese, and he just,
I
chuck
think
'em.
what
He's got a sick arm. He can
I would
proper
say
yeet.
that, and this may be, I may be accidentally copying a Simpsons episode here, but I think with Fat Tony's power being related to the moon, I think he can divert moon energy through him at night and trigger sudden latent lycanthropy in other people, turning them into werewolves.
He's got an army of werewolves. Do you think all
Yeah.
his lads are werewolves?
Yeah, they are.
Vampires.
They're people who he's found out he's accidentally triggered their lycanthropy, and he's been like, "Hey, could you join my mafia?" whereas actually
Right.
it's a criminal werewolf organisation.
Is
So
that
I-
why
The
he-
Were Mafia.
Is
And
that
the
why they're
werewolf.
like his dogs?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
they're his
Like-
underlings. They're his dogs. They're his...
yeah. Just like
Each
in
to
the
dogs.
Simpsons
He's
video
actually
game.
just talking about
Yeah,
his...
Yeah.
he's just talking about his mates.
Absolutely right. That's going in.
So I was saying his superpower is that he is powered by the moon. He never sleeps, and he channels moon energy to cause lycanthropy in other people. Because I think he's more of kind of a, he powers other people, but I don't think he himself has significant powers.
What was it? Powered by the moon.
Powered
Never
by the
sleeps.
moon, never sleeps, and he can divert the power of the moon into the people around him to force or awaken lycanthropy abilities within them. I think that's a very simple power. I think it's good to lay a good baseline of what kind of powers we're expecting. I don't think the Simpsons characters are going to be like, we're not going to have super strength or super stretch. I think we're going to be going for some original characters,
Some
because
interesting stuff.
the Simpsons
Yeah.
is anything but original. I mean, what other TV show would be brave enough to put Lady Gaga in? One of the best episodes of all time. Wow, phenomenal.
Right, who's next?
I guess he doesn't have any powers during the
Snake
new moon. because-
Jailbird.
Jailbird.
Who? What a terrifying individual.
Yeah,
He's got a cool car, sick tats, a shotgun.
an
He feels
inability,
very much like a sort of Punisher figure.
an inability
he's
to
just like a criminal,
rob the
basically, isn't
quickie
he, as well?
mart.
He is just a criminal.
So,
This is essentially his only character trait.
He can't rob the
Gotta
quickie
go,
mart. I don't
Bardo.
think. I don't think he ever manages to do that.
No,
Never manages to
he
rob
never
the quickie
manages.
mart. Maybe that links in. Maybe.
His arch nemesis is definitely Abu.
yeah.
I think Snake's ability might be that he is. Maybe when he tries to do a good thing, it always ends up with negative consequences, and vice versa.
He's
So whenever he
cosmically
tries,
cursed. to
he's cosmically
commit.
cursed to end up performing the opposite way in which he intended to.
He's opposite.
So he's really a good person.
Yeah. What he's actually doing
Is he also got snakes for legs, maybe? I feel like snakes should tie into it somehow.
maybe. Oh, he's got loads of tattoos, doesn't he? Maybe he has the ability
Yeah.
to make his tattoos become real. So maybe because he's got a
But
lot of
they-
snake
but-
tattoos, he can like summon snakes
I think he just
from his
no. I
tattoos.
think because they were only on his arms, right? So
Yeah.
maybe he can just turn his arms into big snakes.
And maybe he can steal other people's tattoos.
That's a wild power. Hell
Yes.
yeah. All right.
So
Okay.
you
So
can-
what have we got?
It's mostly ineffective and doesn't get any. Doesn't really give him any benefits to be able to absorb other people's tattoos. Sounds
It's an
about
aesthetic.
fitting.
You wouldn't understand. You wouldn't understand. You're not part of the subculture of stealing other people's tattoos. It's a whole thing. It's what happened to me. I was riddled in tattoos, and then somebody came up to me and they stole all of my tattoos. You wouldn't believe how popular it is in the Siberian wastes of England. Very big subculture here.
So okay. So we've got arch nemesis of Apu, cosmically bound to do evil, arms turn into snakes, and steal tattoos.
Steal tattoos. I think
We're
I
off
think
to a radical
a
start.
cracking
Yeah.
start. Next
And
is
we're going through them quick, which is a good thing to start with. We can
start
slow
with.
down for the
with the
A-listers.
bigger
Yeah,
characters.
exactly.
Yeah, we want to spend more
Exactly.
time. So Professor Frink, so evidently has super intelligence. I mean, that's kind of a given, but it's not really a superpower because it's already a trait
not
he
fun.
has in the
Is
show.
he a kind
He's
of?
also just smart anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, is he kind of more of a Lex Luthor type where he's not really got any powers? He's just super smart and builds things to accomplish.
That
I
would be a
think-
stupid character, Matt. What a ridiculous idea. Can you think of any character that's well
Maybe.
done that's just their entire thing is just that they're clever?
Maybe
Terrible.
I think
Absolutely
maybe
terrible.
he has super strength, super speed, super intelligence, all of these different superpowers, but it is all related in his confidence level. And with his superpowers, he also has super self-loathing, and so has no faith in his abilities. So despite the fact he is potentially the strongest Simpsons character, his
His
self-consciousness, his social anxiety is so strong that it hampers all of his abilities, except for his super strength. Maybe his super strength is the inverse. He becomes more intelligent the more nervous he is, but the less nervous he is, the less intelligent he becomes, but all of his other powers become so much more powerful.
So super everything, but it all scales inversely.
Inversely, with his anxiety and intelligence.
Scales inversely.
It's kind of similar to the Simpsons episode where they very bravely tackle the topic of mental health using anxiety, depression, and all sorts as kind of vehicles for it. It's something that I really like the Simpsons for, is their bravery to tackle topics that other shows wouldn't dare touch. For example, no other show would go to the UK if they're an American show, but the Simpsons has done it, so just goes to show how brave it is that it's breaking down those geographic borders.
Literally no other show comes to the UK ever.
Yeah.
Not even the UK ones.
I'm worrying that we've already splaffed out the secretly most powerful Simpvenger, and we're 3.
Well, he's not really. He's got super anxiety, so
he has the potential.
He has the potential
ultimately
to be that. But ultimately, his anxiety is so overbearing that it doesn't work. Now, comic book guy. I think
feels to me like a classic.
A classic
internet troll. Yes.
Internet troll.
Just before
I
the
think
time.
He can summon characters from Korean soap operas to help him in battle.
Sure, we can have that.
I think.
What a weird pull.
I think certainly his powers should have nothing to do with him being a comic book guy, because no superhero is going to have their ordinary identity reveal what their power is. So I think that.
Oh, are these secret? I was figuring.
I don't think for the others, but I think comic book guy.
Being a comic book universe.
Being a comic book fan, he knows that you need a secret identity. So he pretends to be the comic book guy as his secret identity because he knows a lot about comic books and he's trying to emulate what a superhero would do. But actually his power is completely unrelated to comic books. And what's the most opposite thing to comic books? Korean soap operas.
Sure. Which characters are the best for battle? What sort of characters does he use normally?
The contestants of The Genius.
Those would be ridiculously useful.
They would be ridiculously useful.
I mean, well, hang on. Can he speak Korean?
No.
So he lives in America, and he's just like, I need to fight someone. He just summons up some random Korean reality star, and just goes, "You fight." Sure. Can. And what's the rule? Is it anyone who's ever been on Korean television?
Anyone who's been on Korean television, as long as they are primarily speak Korean.
Yeah, non-native, no
non-natives. Yeah.
I'm gonna specify South Korean television.
No, maybe both. Why not?
Just Korean. Can he get Kim Jong Un on?
I think the main thing is that it's basically it has to be shows that he's watched, but he's very much
soap opera.
Almost certainly. What else would they talk about there?
He's going to be able to summon multiple versions of Kim Jong Un because it's probably.
I don't think they do, Matthew.
What's wrong? I haven't got this year's rice harvest ready. If only somebody would come help us. And King Jong Un kicks down the door, and he's like, "There's somebody call for my helmet," or like, "King Jong Un." And they go, "You're going to go to my special reform school in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by barbed wire, to learn how to farm." And they're like, "No thanks, King Jong Un. It's fine. Nobody from North Korea is ever going to watch this."
Cannot speak Korean.
Cannot. No, not on North Korean. I'm saying just North and.
I just pick Korean.
Yeah, Korean TV, North or South. I don't think we should divide. We shouldn't be making borders. you know.
Oh, are you campaigning for
I
the
think that's what
reunification of Korea?
What King Jong Un wants, is for us to make borders
I
amongst ourselves.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Anyway,
I reckon he wants an
Dr.
NBA
Julius
star.
Hibbert. What would his superpower be?
It's got to be something with lollipops, right?
Or laughing. He does laugh.
Oh,
at
I was
lot
thinking
in
the
opportunity.
Yeah.
He does shit jokes. What if his
Does he
shit
just,
jokes
like,
all
laugh?
are actually all spells?
Maybe
And
a shit
if you
joke.
laugh at them,
The
they're
shitter
under
the
your
joke,
Suddenly
the
starts
more-
laughing
the more
up
constipated.
lollipops out of your insides. A bit like you just start coughing up lollipops.
So he can tell you jokes that if you laugh at. But all his jokes are shit. So
I think that the shitter
didn't say
the
it was a
joke,
good
the more
superpower.
constipated his opponent becomes.
the more
he's
constipated.
yeah.
his
So
opponent
he
becomes.
incapacitates his opponent by then being like, "I'm very sorry, I was batting you, but I really need to go to the toilet. I just have this sudden swell of constipation, and and that's how he fights. Is that he just tells." Basically, when the villain's doing their big speech, he's making like little jokes, and by the end of it, it's like, "Oh, I was gonna try and take over the world today, but actually, feeling a little bit of
Really need a
indigestion. I'm not really feeling that great. So let's kind of put a pin on this. Let's go back to it kind of in a week's time."
So induces constipation.
Yeah, and he's got the best cover because he's a doctor. So if anyone went to him about constipation issues, he'd be like, "Ah, well, must have been your diet. Should be eating more fibre." Maybe his lollipops kind of alleviate the symptoms.
As
of the
laxative
constipation.
lollipops.
Yeah, I think tying in the lollipops from the pots.
What's the strongest adjective you can use for these laxatives? Titanic laxatives.
Titanic.
Heavy flow.
Titanic. Heavy.
That's something different.
We can't
That's something different. You can't.
Heavy slow lollipops.
You can't be making this a gender thing. You can only fight the female.
I don't know. I think
guys.
you're the only one making this a gender thing, Jamie. I think.
I'm pretty sure what Matt said is the thing that made it a gender thing.
I don't know. I think Matt was just had a very innocent mind, didn't make the connection until
Just
immediately
making a
after he
joke.
said it. I think waterfall.
Gushing.
Waterfall grade.
Waterfall rapids. Or maybe the
I
rapids,
capped
like a, kind of like a lazy river rapid.
Why is it caps? Go away, capitals.
Why is it caps? I have no idea. Well, there we go. But that ties in the lollipops, that ties in the jokes, and all around the Simpsons' main comedy genre of toilet humour. Because you don't really find a Simpsons episode that doesn't have a good 5-10 minutes of heavy toilet humour focused in the middle. It's very. It's like it revolutionised the toilet humour world.
Now, beyond the power of Christ, what does Reverend Lovejoy have to
He's radiating a lot
command
of
in battle?
sexual energy. His surname is Lovejoy.
Is that all we're doing? Is just very sexy?
Maybe he radiates sexual energy, but he's trying to stop it, which is why he's become a preacher to preach against it. But actually, all he's doing is accidentally expanding the amount of people exposed to the radiating sexual energy of Reverend Timothy Lovejoy. As we all know, from a lot of our female friends, we kind of question him about this. Timothy is the most sexual name you can have as a first name. Very sexual name overall, Timothy. A lot of power. First off, it has moths.
Incredible about
It has the word moth in it, which, let's just say that butterflies are a little bit more delicate, but moths are kind of like... Moths are the rebels of the bug world, I'd
Moths
say.
are just more chaotic than butterflies.
Yeah. Oh, certainly.
I think.
And that's why I think like that, just generally.
We've got to have more than radiate sexual energy.
Well, I think that's just one thing. I think that's one thing, and that's kind of his job as a preacher. Maybe that's like his.
Does he have a big sword that's a cross but upside down?
I think he also does have a big flaming crucifix as a weapon.
Has big flaming crucifix
That also radiates.
sword.
Coincidentally,
Also,
Is that the source of his
actually they're
powers?
both unrelated. Quite funnily enough, the sexual energy radiation, completely different sources for both of them. It's just quite ironic that he's ended up with it. And of course, he is very immune to it. I think the
He's
one
no
only
spell
person
checker on
who-
Google Sheets, so bear with.
It's fine, no worries. I mean, on my screen,
that's right.
on the shared screen, it's barely legible. So you know, you have to
I
press
think it's like-
enter for me to see it.
Oh, is it?
Oh, that's certainly not correct. But who cares, really? I misspell things all the time on there.
Not really. I don't know.
I don't know. I can't
Right,
read.
Wiggum.
Wiggum.
Chief Wiggum.
Now,
Well, there's one thing about Chief Wiggum that I know, and that's that he's a policeman.
He likes donuts.
sure does love
And
his
he has a gun.
donuts. He's got a gun.
I always remember the scene of him eating donuts off the
Yeah.
barrel of the gun, and Lou's like,
I
pretty sure
think-
that's pretty dangerous, Chief. It's just like, can't remember what he
Maybe-
says in response.
No, it's fine. It's
Maybe.
fine.
I-
Or something.
I
can't-
think he is extremely clumsy, but happens to have extreme luck.
Never misses a shot.
Never misses a shot. He's
Is he?
extremely
No, I
lucky.
feel like he's got more like stormtrooper aim, but still.
I think he's just extremely lucky when it comes to things that could potentially cause him harm. For example, he's used to eating donuts off his gun just because his power's so lucky that like it never ends up.
Because later on, he gets like the car like jolts or something, and he shoots the tip of his cap off. He's like, "Whoa, that was close." Makes up for it. So Stormtrooper aim makes up for it with just like
Dumb luck. Always catches the
Cos-
bad guy.
cosmic luck.
Oh, certainly.
What else? He's got to have something more than that.
I think he also
Can his car talk or something cool?
He just has a kit.
Has a kid.
has a kid. Has a kid.
That's not a
I
super.
think-
I mean, it's a bit of
I
a
mean, he
super
does
power,
have.
but-
He has a
we got his
utility
kid on
belt.
this list.
Yeah, we
we
do.
got Ralph on this list.
Who I would say
We
if
do.
we are
Yeah.
going to have a almighty powerful character, just wait until we get to
I think Ralph is.
Ralph.
Ralph is
Wiggum.
definitely one of the most powerful
Most
characters in
powerful
Simpsons verse.
I think makes up for it with cosmic luck, and I also think he can do a handstand.
Can do 2 handstands at once.
Can do a hand.
Sure.
Can do
Figure that
two
out.
Yeah, exactly. I
handstands at
don't.
once. It's-
Why? Okay. I'm not even going to try and
Matt's struggling.
I've just accepted that.
I
and moving
understand. It isn't because he's only played the Simpsons video game. If he's watched the
Of
actual
course, he doesn't get the.
Simpsons,
He doesn't
you
really get
know-
the fiction.
because you know they do
on.
very.
I'm not inundated in the lore and the.
You know, whenever Chief Wiggum comes on, he always comes on like, "Hey guys, time to do my signature 2 handstands at once," and you're like, "Whoa, that's crazy." Anyway, I think
Right.
Mayor Quimby.
Well, you've spelt Mayor Quimby wrong. You've called him Mayor Quimby.
Mayor Quimby is, I'd say,
Wealthy.
I think he has the ability to manipulate through foreign interference Springfield elections and electoral polls.
That's election powers.
He's got
He has
Putin on
election
speed
power.
dial.
Yeah. He has all the great fixer-uppers. He's got Putin. He's got the King of Antarctica.
He's just got a lot of underlings who are like
And he's got Mayor
Those-
keeping him in
Quimby.
power.
All the world leaders.
I think if anyone in the world fixes
Even
Fixes
the King
elections.
of Antarctica.
Probably Mayor Quimby, closely followed by the King of Antarctica.
That's not how to spell that.
Antarctica.
That's also not. Antarc.
To be fair, I think being in league with the King of
Got it.
Antarctica is such a powerful thing. Because we know that Antarctica is the most significant continent out of the 7. So having
I'm going to change
a
nose
foot
to
in the door-
friends with.
No, friends with. Childhood
Ants
friends
in
with.
Antarctica. That's all I know about that place.
There are ants in Antarctica.
There
are
are
no
no
ants
ants
in
in
Antarctica.
Antarctica. It's the only
Yet.
continent that doesn't have any ants.
Yet.
Yeah. Just you.
What else can he do? The
when they say
election
super-
powers and friends with all the world leaders is not nearly enough to be on
He's
the
also
Avengers.
incredibly wealthy.
Mind you, Hawkeye's a thing, so
Incredibly wealthy.
that's not a. Oh, Iron Man, Jesus.
And he can also.
Man, when you boil it down, the superpowers are majority. Like most of them are terrible.
Captain America's is
Intelligence.
super strength. And
Yeah, but it's
the
not
Incredible
super though, is
Hulk's is even more super strength.
It's just a bit strong.
Based.
it is. Captain America is super
I'd
strong.
love to have a superhero team where all of them have super strength, but just differing rankings of strength.
One is just outright more powerful.
One of them is like
than the other.
exponentially stronger than everybody else.
I think also his finger guns. Are
Has
actually
finger
kind-
guns.
He has popularity.
Finger guns are
guns.
actual guns.
I think when he shoots someone with the finger gun, he becomes instant. They instantly become a supporter.
They shoot policies.
They shoot policies. Policies and convincing arguments at people's way.
Does he
which
basically just have like
Seasoned
giant,
rhetoric.
Does he basically
Yeah.
just have like giant T-shirt cannons for like finger guns and
Yeah.
just fire out "Vote Quimby"?
hands-
Vote
Fucking
Quimby
massive
T-shirts
fat
and
sausage
all
fingers.
his, all his
I-
propaganda.
I think definitely change finger guns to super powered T-shirt cannons. We'll save the finger guns for later. Like he shoots out one shirt and it just has on it, "I've eliminated the middle class," and they're all gone.
So he's got election powers, friends with all the world leaders, even the King of Antarctica, and has superpowered T-shirt cannons that shoot policies and rhetoric.
Yeah.
Hell yeah! What a powerful character. Right, what's Sideshow Bob got?
I think
Spite.
definitely
Spite.
Spite.
he can break out
Just spite.
he
Full
can,
stop.
he can break out of prison with his through spite, pure spite and anger alone.
Infinite spite.
Infinite spite.
He's a spite wizard. Krusty the Clown. And, by extension, Sideshow Mel, who is his sidekick.
I think it is to impart terrible news to people and terrible sadness through TV screens, which explains why in Springfield there is a rampant regard of a lot of children with a lot of socio-economic issues and low mental health, because his TV show is the only thing that is ever aired to children. I mean,
Sings
it's
the songs
cartoon
of dread
show.
and despair.
Yeah. And to go off Simpson lore, I know especially making up superpowers here, but it is highly suggested throughout the show that he is one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse.
Knows the chords to the song that ends the world.
Yeah. He's one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse.
Not all-
along
he doesn't
with
know the whole song.
Sideshow Mel, Itchy and
He just-
Scratchy are the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. His is pestilence. He diseases the minds of those who watches it into sadness and avarice.
Is this some... I can't tell if this is some idiot blog theory that you've
Or
read
if-
somewhere
or if
on
this is just
BuzzFeed or
Chris.
something. Or it might be just Chris.
And I took
Anyway.
a BuzzFeed quiz. It was, which horseman of the apocalypse are you? And the answer was, you're Krusty the Clown.
Oh man, I hated his Dark Side game. It wasn't nearly as cool as the others.
Yeah. I still can't believe after they released the Simpsons game. I don't know whether you played the games, but they similar to how after Sonic the Hedgehog game came out, they released Shadow the Hedgehog, which was an edgier version. They released a Krusty the Clown game after the Simpsons game, which was they gave him a gun.
Shadow had a gun. Why did Shadow have a? He had a running gun.
I have a running gun. Oh.
Why did Shadow have a gun? I can't get over that.
Why did Shadow have a gun? He had multiple guns.
Shadow the Hedgehog.
Yeah, and there were 3 different plot lines.
Avengers.
You had the
Funny.
edgy plot line where he was by himself. You had the one where he was literally communing with a demon alien, and the other one where he is helping out the president of the United States. One of the fourth level to the end of the game on the evil route is that he kills the president. There are 3 levels after
Fuck
killing the
me,
president
dead.
of the United
What?
States.
I need to play this game.
You don't.
Anyway,
It's
right,
not
more
good.
Krusty Powers.
He's one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse and summoned
Oh, yeah.
songs of dread and despair amongst everyone. Not only that, but he has control of the other 3 horsemen of the apocalypse, which is Sideshow Mel, Itchy, and Scratchy. You know, I think if anything...
They're not
we've
real,
given-
though.
That's what I want you to think. That's when they show it off as a cartoon to kids, so you don't let people know that actually... These
Entity of
immortal-
pure, unfettered chaos.
Yeah. I think Krusty the Clown might have just become the main villain of our
He's the single most Lovecraftian character we're gonna have, I can tell.
grease powers. Constantly covered in grease.
Well,
So
I feel
he
like
can slip out of
Groundkeeper
everything.
Willie's a bit of a sort of werewolf. Like he always rips his like dungarees off. I feel like he turns into like a what would be a Scottish
I
werewolf.
think he's actually... So you know how in...
He turns into a thistle.
I think that, you know how you've got... in superhero things, you have like Jonah Hex is like a cowboy
What
zombie.
the fuck is
He's a
Jonah
DC hero. He's a zombie cowboy who's been
Oh,
out of time
he's
into the
Jeff
future.
Bridges.
Or you have Conan the Barbarian, who's kind of been... is now in the main Marvel universe, like brought into the future. Groundskeeper Willie is actually Beowulf from the Scottish folklore, but he has been transported into the 21st century, and he's a man at a time. He's just Beowulf.
actually
Beowulf, and I think
That's
he
it,
also
done.
has.
Just actually.
Can we also
Also
give him
grease
grease
powers.
powers? Grease powers. He got transported. He fell into a vat of grease during medieval Scotland, and
Fell into a
he kind of got
radioactive vat of
frozen
grease.
into it, kind of like Han Solo in Carbonite. He got shipped off to America, and then the school boards needed a new teacher on topic, and they were like, "Oh, in this auction we got like this grease carbonated groundskeeper," and they burned him out, and they're like, and evidently it works because he's insane, and like the time travelers messed with his mind.
We've already made it to an important turning point. It's Ralph.
Ralph Wiggum.
Do you guys know about Franklin Richards in Marvel? Well, he's the son of the
Yeah.
Fantastic Four, and he literally
Yeah.
he has reality bending powers, which is basically the canonical reason why the MCU no one ages, no one basically it always returns to a status quo, because basically Franklin Richards pretty much controls reality. That's what Ralph Wiggum is. That's why nobody grows up, because his powers, basically, he's such a reality warper that he maintains a status quo. And that's also why The Simpsons is a comedy program, because he's got quite a simple, childish kind of comedy mind.
He's why everyone's yellow.
Yeah, he's why everyone's yellow, because it's like, fuck.
Although
it's like-
weirdly, only the white people are yellow.
Also, there are people with blue
Even
hair.
though the whole point of the fact they were yellow was originally because what was that? Was that not true?
It was for when you're flicking through channels, the yellow was meant to stand out, and then you see it react like you recognise it more
Is that
quickly. That's what I heard.
Because people used to say it was meant to be a race thing,
I don't.
but then they put black characters in it anyway. And made them black as
I
opposed to
think
just
it's to
having people
catch
of the same
people's
colour.
attention.
I think it's
Huh.
because
Maybe that's a myth.
I think it was to catch people's attention more because it was kind of unique. But it is
He
unique
keeps
to
the population of
Simpsons.
Springfield young and yellow, but not the rest of the world. It's only Springfield, and also it's like Tortuga. You can only get there if you're from there
Yeah.
because of Ralph's incredible
As we know
powers.
from the movie, where somebody's trying
Exactly.
to get to Springfield, and as they get close enough, it actually goes off the sat nav. Also, unrelated, there's a big dome, and the government's trying to cover up Springfield because of how spooky the place is.
Springfield.
Contains the
Immortal.
narrative, makes the people of Springfield immortal and maintains the narrative status quo.
Maintains.
And that's just kind of like the surface of his powers. He's only young. He's only going to get more powerful as he grows up. But he can't grow up because he's halted his own age. It's a perpetual thing.
So when we said that Professor Frank was potentially the most powerful character,
Maybe the anxiety was given to him by Ralph Wiggum to kind of get rid of the only competition.
Yeah.
no, I don't think Ralph Wiggum knows any of that he's doing any of
it's
this.
self-conscious. He doesn't realise it consciously, but subconsciously, it's eliminated the threat.
He keeps Springfield off the map in a pocket dimension.
Yeah.
Sure.
And other places get brought into. It's kind of like when the Simpsons episode in the UK happened. The whole UK disappeared from. The
Yeah,
world
it's not
map.
them going out. It's just
Ralph
pulls
pulls them
it in
into their
temporarily.
reality. So then the England episode can happen. So next
Alright.
up is Nelson.
Got
Muntz.
Nelson Muntz. What's a Nelson Muntz do?
He's a bully. So,
He is a bully. I meant the superpowers, Matt.
Yeah, I know, but I'm like, that was meant to be a springboard for someone to.
Permanent.
Well,
wedges.
you haven't come up with one yet. You come up with one.
I don't know. Does he like
Permanent wedges.
laugh at you until you're tired and can't fight back?
That's the same power as.
That's what he
Is
has.
it?
That's
He
Why
does
are
that
they-
in real life. It's not a superpower.
I think permanent wedgies. Certain. I think he
okay.
has super bullying abilities.
Permanent wedges.
He has super bullying abilities. Gun can get permanently stuck in people's hair. It's only Ralph Wiggum kind of making sure that these things aren't permanent. Without Ralph there, Nelson's abilities would be. And that's maybe like a defensive tactic because Nelson picks on Ralph at school, so subconsciously he is suppressing Nelson's ability on Ralph. And whenever anyone comes by
No, because Ralph never gives a shit, does he? He's just like, I'm a triangle. Piss
Yeah.
off. I don't care.
He's correct. Is it
He is
strange
correct.
how everyone in the show always says that Ralph is correct about everything?
Oh, yes. You're right. That is weird. I never thought about that. Food for thought.
Food for thought.
Right, permanent wedgies. General bullying powers.
General bullying power. His super weakness is that when people find out about his tragic backstory,
Yeah, I was going to say, does he have like a really tragic backstory that's pushed him?
he
to
actually
bullying?
does in the show. He
He actually does.
Yeah.
He had a devastatingly sad backstory.
Yeah. And he has a thing with Lisa as well.
Yeah. I think certainly tragic backstory.
He's the only superhero with a tragic backstory in the entire. We're not allowed to use that one again.
Yeah.
I mean, we found a way of making 3 most powerful superheroes already. So
Yeah.
Great.
Well,
Krusty sings
Krusty
the
is a
songs of
villain.
dreaded despair, knows the chords to the song that will end the world, one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, entity of pure unfettered chaos.
I think that works quite well.
How is that not one of the most powerful characters we have?
I think also Nelson is able to see through his glass eyes despite being blinded as a child from his tragic backstory.
it's just,
Is blind, but
Can can see through his prosthetic eyes, can smell through his prosthetic nose, can hear through his prosthetic ears, and can taste and feel through his prosthetic.
So you've given him debilitating disabilities, and then
but he has
negated
powers
all of them
that
with
counteract
superpowers that
them.
you'll never notice because he can just see.
He's just like a.
It's like I'm writing an actual It's like I'm
It's like a
writing
shit,
an actual
boring
superhero
cyborg.
comic where it's like, we've done this big thing, but don't worry, we've given him an ability that just so happens to counteract the exact horrifying thing.
But it doesn't make it cooler. Like it's not. He's just got eyes again. It's not.
Well, he's got glass eyes. He has to move them.
Why is
he
that
can't move them
How
on.
do the glass eyes benefit him over being able to see?
Has a fucking
Because he doesn't
appendix
have
made
any
of diamond. What do you? It doesn't matter. It's inconsequential. Like my back right molar
Maybe he's like
talk
Daredevil,
and has a
where
telepathic
he
link
can-
with me.
Instead of seeing, he has enhanced sense.
He can see
smell. He has
Tremor
super
sense.
smell.
targets to bully through his prosthetic eyes.
Can only see fear.
Yeah, he can see fear.
He can see fear.
Thanks to his prosthetic
And
eyes.
has glass eyes, so he can't see anything else.
This is such a weird one. Permanent wedgies, general bullying powers, tragic backstory, can only see fear. Hunts by night? Fuck it. I mean, we're turning him more and more into like a vampire.
Hunts by night, or within school grounds during school hours.
Yeah.
Bound to school
He just disappears during the summer holidays.
by day. He's incorporeal. He just doesn't. You wouldn't notice.
The bell rings and he forms at the locker. And he
Straight away
goes,
on cue.
Millhouse, bully time. Wedgie. He's like some similar to Krusty Clown. He's some eldritch kind of horror who just appears.
We're going more and more Lovecraftian with every single one.
I love it. Can't wait till we get to the Simpsons. Where they're gonna be
What's
called-
Millhouse then?
Millhouse is the only person with
Because
no
Millhouse's
powers.
entire thing is that he's pathetic as hell.
He's the only person with no powers in the whole of Springfield.
Well, is he like one of those who just
That's
betas everybody into protecting him? Is
He's
that
got
like his
super
one-
beta powers.
He's the Simpvenger.
The true Simpvenger.
He's the first Simpventure.
The first. So that means Lisa has some kind of power over him.
Yeah.
We'll get
He
to that
fancies Lisa,
later.
doesn't he?
I
That's
think
inter-
so.
he-
The first
Yeah, he does.
Simpvenger.
Yeah.
And then just put a dash, then think Captain America, then think the opposite, and give him powers for that.
Imagine if the super serum did the opposite.
Super frailty. I think Millhouse only has super debilitating weaknesses, but also has the ability to be super beta, and thus other people get him to defend him. Which explains how.
Yeah,
he's
he's kept alive through sheer pity.
Yeah.
So we've essentially made him his dad, because that's his dad.
Maybe that's
Well,
how he
keep it
inherits
in the
his powers.
family.
Maybe it's the male
Yeah.
lineage.
Because
Yeah.
his dad like sleeps in a car bed still, like a
Yeah.
race car bed. Like he's basically just.
Which I don't know about you, but isn't that a bit of an alpha move to sleep in a race car bed?
No, it isn't.
Wow.
How?
Because it shows that you don't care about what people think about you.
No, he thought it was really cool.
Yeah. It was
Right,
when he was
Edna.
younger.
What's
Edna.
Edna Crabapple's powers?
Super disappointment. Can give a disapproving stare to someone which freezes them in their tracks and forces them to go to detention.
Mind control.
Mind control, detention / disappointment.
Detention stare.
Detention stare.
Also can summon a Titanic
Apple.
crab.
Infinite supply of apples.
Titanic crab. The crab has the infinite supply of apples.
Yeah. Can only sustain herself on crab apples.
And that's why it's never in detention, because it gives an apple to the teacher every day.
They're crab apple. They're actually not crab apples. They're crab apples with a K.
Yeah.
It's a different thing. It's from another dimension.
It's from
they come from the crab lays them like a
in the
like
in
an
the
egg.
Springfield beaches. They grow on the palm trees along the Springfield coast.
No, the crab lays the infinite crab apple. That's why they're crab apples. And what happens if you eat one?
What happens if you eat one?
You turn into another crab for Edna to harvest.
To defile.
Yeah.
To defile. I think just leave it as defile.
A crab slave of Edna. We've gone so evil.
Superintendent Chalmers. I think if anyone's going to be the Nick Fury of the Simpsons world, it is Superintendent Chalmers.
That's probably right. Do we have anyone else?
No.
No, it is definitely him.
It is certainly Superintendent Chalmers. He has the most...
Which makes Seymour Skinner Coulson.
Almost certainly. Just Nick Fury.
I spelt Fury very poorly.
I need to talk to you about the
gosh.
SIMPVENGERS initiative. I
Millhouse.
think also along with
I have an idea.
along with being Nick Fury, I think you also need to put down that unlike Millhouse, I think Superintendent Chalmers has alpha energy, like super alpha abilities. He can alpha people into doing what he wants.
He can just tell people to do something and they do it.
I don't understand how that isn't Nick Fury.
Well,
It is Nick Fury.
because it counteracts Millhouse's ability of super beta. Because Chalmers doesn't give in to it.
Neither does Nick Fury. That's
It's
my
a-
point. Is that you've described him by just
He's just Nick
It's just
Fury,
Nick Fury.
without the eye patch. Has both eyes.
both eyes. Maybe it has more than just two eyes.
It's got a
Has
secret
all
eye.
of the eyes.
He's got Nelson's
He can see.
eyes.
He can see through anyone's eyes,
He's got Nelson's real eyes.
including Nelson's.
But only his real ones, not his prosthetic ones.
No, he's only got the real eyes.
Okay. I already know what.
Known as the Eye Keeper.
There's the eye keeper.
I am the eye keeper, keeper of the eyes.
Eye Keeper, keeper of the eyes.
Poseidon quivers before him.
Seymour Skinner.
Harnesses the abilities of Murphy's Law. Also can summon Aurora Borealis.
Which one's Murphy's Law?
Murphy's Law
Anything
is-
that can go wrong will go wrong.
Yeah.
He
Just
can
himself
harness
or
the
what?
ability, which is why he's like the biggest. He's also Coulson, so he pretty much just causes issues for Superintendent Chalmers, similar
Has
to their
full
relationship in
command
the show.
Of
Murphy's,
Murphy's
Law.
Law.
Also can summon Aurora Borealis, but only only locally confined to one room inside a building or a small area.
I can't spell Aurora.
Localized Aurora Borealis can summon a localized Aurora Borealis. That's what it is.
Do they smell of steamed hams as well?
Oh, he also steams
How
a
do you-
good ham,
How do you spell Aurora?
despite the fact that they are hamburgers.
A-U-R-O-R-A.
A-U. Oh, that's what I'm doing wrong. Yeah, there we go.
Aurora.
Can summon a localized Aurora Borealis that... What does it do? It's got to do something more than just be lights.
Smells like steamed hams.
Fine.
Because the meme. It's
Yeah.
a
I
really
think,
weird meme.
I think that Aurora Borealis, I think we can give steamed hams its own ability. I think he can convince anyone that any food is actually steamed hams. Like good.
So what do the
hams.
Aurora Borealis do?
He gives Superintendent Chalmers hamburgers. Yet Chalmers exits the building and says, "You may be an odd fellow, Seymour, but you steam a good ham," despite the fact he has already stated that they were obviously hamburgers. So I think he has the ability to convince anyone that any food substance is steamed hams, which is why his abilities work very well with his love interest, Edna Crabapple, because he can convince anyone that the crabapples are actually steamed hams.
Is he just like the Jerry monster to Bess monster in that Rick and Morty episode?
They're codependent.
They're codependent.
They're codependent.
I think Aurora Borealis, I mean, it's based on solar flares, isn't it? So I guess it's like some
Well, it's to do with
mild
the
solar
interacting with the
energy.
magnetic field of the Earth.
Cause
mild solar
immediate
damage. Immediate
radiation sickness.
Can we put mild radiation sickness? Like, it's not too serious, but
Immediate mild radiation sickness. I don't know what mild radiation sickness is. I'm pretty sure if you have radiation sickness, you're fucking done.
well, if it's mild, maybe not as done as quickly. Maybe it's
It's
kind of
just a
more
slow
slow
burn.
process. It's a slow burn.
I've taken 10 years off your life. Fuck you. Goodbye.
Fuck you. You're only you're living instead of to 80, you're living to 70. Fuck you.
Oh no. Right. Smithers.
I think.
I mean, Smithers is
he
a bit of a simp
I
as
was
well.
just going to say, he is a
I
bit of a
think
simp.
he's more of a
just
support
Millhouse.
character. If he was in Overwatch, he would definitely be a support. And I think he is the
No,
ability.
no. If he was in Overwatch, he would be Mr. Burns' ability.
Just summon Smithers.
Because that is essentially the dynamic that Ash and Bob have. Is like he's her butler.
I think he's able to buff and debuff different people. And
but how?
all of
You-
his
that's
powers
too
are
gamified.
constantly debuffing Mr. Burns. Which is why Mr. Burns
Wait, so
is
he's not
so
actually
frail.
helpful to Mr. Burns.
Yeah, that's why he's so close to Mr. Burns. He's debuffing him because he's trying to rein in Mr. Burns' nefarious schemes by keeping him in a debilitated state.
So he's actually like a sort of
He's a...
mental parasite.
Yes. Yes, write that down. He is a mentally draining parasite.
He just fatigues people.
But he's fatigued Mr. Burns to such a degree that he is in perfect degregational harmony. It's like when Dr. Herbert says to Mr. Burns, "You have so many diseases in you." Imagine this is a door, and imagine these are all of the diseases. Now, there are so many diseases trying to get in that none of them, they're all working, they all cancel each other out. Like, so I'm invincible then. And he's like, no,
No,
one
small
single thing
breeze.
happens.
Invincible.
Invincible.
Right, is a mentally draining parasite the most evil thing in the universe? Actually a slug, but
Like the Gazan.
uses illusions.
Has minor illusions as an ability to change his face.
And
Has prestidigitation.
stop D&Ding everything, you weebs. Fucking hell.
Hey.
If you mention D&D again, you have to plug the other D&D show that we do. Usually a slug, but uses illusions. What's a good power? Come on.
Very good at mental.
That's a bad power.
Photographic memory.
A good power. These are not good powers. Fuck it. Super strength. Who even cares? Why are we even trying? Come on. Put some effort in.
He's telepathic.
When people
Is
put
that-
a face
I don't
at,
know.
when
He's a
people
mentally
put-
draining parasite. Of course he's telepathic. It's implied.
You know how he's got like kind of slightly spiky hair?
Yes.
can actually headbutt people, and that's actually a weapon. That's not hair. That's like a metal wig. That.
But we said it. We
can
just
crush people.
said actually a slug, but uses illusions. However, I'm liking the creativity.
Maybe
So is
that's part of his illusion body. Like the only bit that's real is basically the shell wig that he has on. That's like it's a little contraption. Top of it's like spiked up, and it's like a little ball.
Actually, floating hair.
that stabs.
Ay
Stabby hair.
caramba.
I haven't got there yet. Actually, floating stabby hair, but uses it. We're going off the rails. This one's.
I love
just
it. Went from
just dead
that's
on
not
arrival.
good enough. Give me something imaginative. That's perfect. We've got off the rails, lads. Next up,
I mean,
is
we have. I'm right there with you, though.
Next, we have Mr. Burns. Now, first off, he can give someone a sick arm burn. Like, you know, when you're a kid, you could give someone arm burn, but like
Good
twisting
at
arm burn.
arm burns.
That's where he gets his name from. Next thing, he eats nuclear energy. That's why he owns a nuclear
That's
power
good.
plant.
That's good. You can see
Runs on,
See,
yeah.
He is actually the Hulk, and it's only because of Smithers that his abilities have been dampened into a shrivelly old man.
much better. Would be a Hulk-like character.
But it's being mentally
Oh,
trained
that's
by Waylon Smithers.
If not for Smithers. Is he also potentially the most powerful Simpvenger?
No, he's not.
No.
He
Made
is-
his fortune from an email that a Nigerian prince sent him. To
Yeah,
get some
he
gold
is
out
the
of the
lucky
country.
winner.
Secretly behind the Twitter hacks.
Great social
Hi, I'm
media
Barack
presence.
Obama. Send me 1,000 Bitcoin and I'll send you 2,000.
I think you know he is definitely has like a couple of kaijus underneath like his house and the nuclear power plant in case of emergency.
Breeds kaiju.
He is a kaiju breeder.
For sport. We have a lot of Titanic beings lying around in Springfield now.
Now
Well,
I
I think
think
there's a
Carl
pocket dimension.
and Lenny. One thing that is very common about Carl and Lenny is that people famously get them confused.
I was
I
going to say that
think-
they are in fact the same.
Does anyone know
person.
which one's Carl and which one's Lenny?
I
They are
do.
the same.
I think
person.
Lenny's the white
But I
one.
don't- Yeah, Lenny is the
I
white.
think
one.
Carl's black.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I believe that is correct.
I think they can swap places
Fantastic.
with each other at any time, and also they're basically like they can affect people mentally, where basically people start getting simple things confused, such as each other's names, or accidentally hiring Homer Simpson as a nuclear health and safety officer, and maybe their powers being used by Ralph Wiggum to keep people ignorant of his power.
Is it actually one consciousness?
Mhm.
Yeah, I was going to say they come from a shared consciousness.
Which was
Actually, one
created by Ralph
consciousness.
Wiggum. They're the police force of the Simpson world. They come along, but they're like, "This isn't in continuity," and then their jaws unlock and white lights blasts out, and they reset the character
The ability to erase people.
to erase and rebuild people to conform to
Ralph's continuity.
Ralph's continuity.
Who diverge. From Ralph's vision.
We basically just made them the Men in Black.
What else can they do?
Secretly, the two aliens. You know, they're like the two Simpsons episode.
Krang and
Yeah, they are secretly actually the two aliens. I knew
Well,
you were
the
forgetting
Krang
somebody.
and-
They've both got
Krong?
really stupid names.
Is it Krong and Krang?
Let me
Krang
quickly
and-
look it up.
Kurg?
Simpsons. Kang and Kodos.
Kang and Kang.
I knew it was so
Yeah.
it's 2-syllable. Kang and Kodos.
From the
Spelled
fictional
how?
planet of Regil the Seventh. I can't believe you forgot about Kang and Kodos. I guess it's just because they are such.
They're never important,
They only
really.
turn up every so often. They're not really.
They mainly for the Treehouse of Horrors.
Yeah.
Right then, it's Barney Gumble. Definitely got an iron stomach.
Yeah.
Does he drink to suppress his abilities?
Does he have some like major mental powers, but they're so chaotic?
He's always hammered.
That he has to
Yeah.
keep himself inebriated to prevent them from popping off and.
Uncontrollable.
He
mental
remembers
abilities.
everything, and he drinks to forget. That if he were to ever sober up, he'd remember the lie that he was living in. It's all Ralph's.
He's the only person who knows the true power of Ralph. He saw it once. He saw
Yeah.
Ralph in his
He
street,
saw
and it
it
scarred him for life.
Yeah. He's able to see through the illusions, and maybe he's able to determine what everyone's abilities are. But alcohol completely hampers his ability to do so, and therefore he drinks. So then people he doesn't get caught for finding out.
He has so he has iron stomach, uncontrollable mental abilities, including true sight, drinks to suppress powers,
Drinks to suppress
Yeah.
powers. Yeah.
knows knows.
Knows.
Knew.
Knows. If he would ever stop drinking, he'd remember again.
He knows.
In the back of his mind, he knows that he must continue drinking.
Knows only that he.
Also, I think he has. I think the alcohol that he drinks gives mild reality warping abilities, because there is that one scene where Moe throws Barney out of the Moe's pub, and then Barney teleports back into Moe's.
I think he's cosmically bound to.
He's
Moe's
cosmically,
power.
yeah. He has reality warping powers, but limited entirely in Moe's tavern, which he's just waiting for. He's waiting to duel Ralph when he goes into Moe's tavern, but that's why Ralph stopped aging, so he would
Yeah.
never, in the canon, ever have to go into Moe's tavern.
Right,
We've
well,
got some deep lore.
We're really going ham on this hideous Lovecraftian lore.
I think Moe is definitely a Lovecraftian construct, because he is known as the most hideous thing in the Simpsons universe.
He's not actually a person. He's just like the puppet, like figurehead of some cosmic being that lives under the bar.
He is the goat in the Thousand Tree Forest.
I'm only vaguely familiar with. I know it's. Isn't it Nyarlathotep?
I don't know.
The goat in the forest is another Lovecraftian
Yeah.
creature, isn't it? I can't remember which one. It might be Yog-Sothoth.
Honestly,
Hard
it's
Doesn't matter. Anyway, the most ugly being in the universe bleeds alcohol.
The black goat of the woods with 1,000 young.
is
Shub.
Shub-Niggurath.
Yeah, I didn't want to say the name because it would be very easy for you to mispronounce it in a way where it would say a word that might not be the best to say.
Not
on
really.
YouTube.
Only if you decided to say the middle of it, you buffoon.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Bleeds
Um,
alcohol. What else?
Alcohol.
Immune to alcohol.
Immune to alcohol-based attacks.
Susceptible to prank phone calls.
Only weak. I think only instead of immune
Only
to alcohol, I think
weakness.
only vulnerable to pranks.
It's pranks.
Um, leads Lovecraftian-esque cult underneath Moe's tavern. And secretly is an eldritch entity himself.
Under the tavern.
And surprisingly, despite being an eldritch entity, a Lovecraftian horror, he is
I'd
nowhere
thinking
near the
about
most
it.
powerful
The Simpsons
creature
is
that we've
absolutely perfect for like an alternate fiction Lovecraftian story.
made.
It would be so bone chilling. I mean, like, I want to do that now.
Do you want to go away and write your fanfic? is that what you're-
Essentially, yeah. I mean, I do not have the time.
No.
Well, link in the description of the video. What, 2 weeks?
Lead Lovecraftian cult under the tavern. To do what? What are they trying to do?
Siphon the powers of Ralph Wiggum into their chosen deity.
To Barney.
Which happens to be Mo Sizlak, but Barney is actually siphoning the power. It's a three-way thing. Mo's trying to gather the power, but Barney's actually taking the power. But Barney's taking it for the greater good.
What happened to Matt's?
Which is why Barney's always in Mo's tavern, because he's there, because he knows it's the only place where he can get the power to defeat Ralph Wiggum. Because of Mo's activities. Don't know whether you're going to have space for all of this, but we could extend the box.
I'm not writing all that. I've got Leeds Lovecraftian cult under the. Oh no! Don't do that. Fuck me. Oh.
It's like Chris
I
doesn't
fixed it.
Stop the
understand
podcast.
There's a
Fuck's
sizing.
sake.
I fixed it. I
Fucking
fixed it. I
blab.
fixed it. I fixed it. I just did Control Z. It's all back. It's all back to normal.
Don't fuck with the shape of it.
Okay.
It's the one job. Right. Patty and Selma. Now, we already did the can swap places at will thing, but I think it's more fitting for Patty and Selma, to be honest.
Well, I feel like they're secretly just one per. Like they are just.
Yeah,
the
I
same.
think this
You
is-
never see the two of them
We've
at the
got
same
that
time.
for...
No, but you never see the two of them at the same time. They are. There is no Selma or there is no.
It's a
Patty.
split personality.
No, you never
and
see
they both
one of them at the
have-
same time.
It's a
That's what you mean.
split. You always see them together.
mean that
What do you mean
Patty-
you never
Yeah,
see?
so
Yeah, I
you
know,
never
but-
see you never see one of them on its own.
It's
Yeah,
it's actually
they're
one
conjoined
person with a
twins,
split
basically.
personality, but they can project the other personality out as like a.
One of them's a ghost.
One of them's a ghost. Selma has seance powers and can summon the dead and make them real. At the
Who
end
was
of
killed by the other in a horrific
it was
tragedy.
killed by the other. Similar to Umbrella's
That's how she
Klaus
gained her
and-
seance
Don't
powers.
don't spoilers for. I haven't.
It's not a spoiler. It's literally in the
Shush
trailers.
your face.
You're
Shut up.
numpty.
Yeah, I haven't watched the trailers. I don't like trailers. Trailers don't always fill with spoilers, so I don't watch trailers anymore.
Don't watch trailers. It's also like it's in the description for like the thing.
I
When
don't
they-
care. We're not. Is this the Simp Umbrella Academy? That
The
that would
Simp
be
Umbrella Academy.
that would be it's hard to say and a bad idea. So we're not doing it.
Yeah.
One of them is a ghost who was killed by the other in a horrific tragedy. What else can they do?
Can definitely summon the dead. Talk to the dead.
Can summon the dead.
Can summon the dead.
We haven't got many death summoners.
Yeah.
Amassing army
Or Treehouse
Of
of
the
Horrors
night.
50.
to besiege the House of the Simpsons.
Yes.
To besiege the Simpsons residence.
I love how he got some really long ones and just at Sideshow Pop we have infinite
Infinite
spite.
I think that's all he needs, though.
Yeah.
He's just got unending spite. He's simply powered by spite. Can we also have that they can hide, or like they can hide this army in a smoke
Their
from
wigs.
their cigarettes?
In their wigs. I think the smoke might be how they summon it. I think literally they smoke so much they get close enough to death that they are able to connect to the other realm.
So we're basically saying that the cigarette is the source of their power.
Yes.
I'm not sure.
That's why Patty had to go. Patty wanted to take Selma into rehab. She knew that would be the end of her abilities, so Patty had to go.
That's the maximum I could put.
Yeah.
Right, Ned Flanders. So we've got this fiction that like there are a lot of forces at play.
And I don't want to add any other forces at play, so I'm just going to say, to avoid confusion, Ned Flanders is the second coming of Jesus Christ and has come to stop the Antichrist.
He's not sure which one it is because there's a lot of
there's
contenders.
so many people.
He's so baffled by how many, he's so lost as to who he's meant to be chasing after that he just gives up and settles down and has a whole family.
Second coming of Christ sent to fight Antichrist. Not sure who it is. I feel like he ties into
still recovering
well, the
from
thing is
accidentally killing his wife because
energy,
he thought his wife might be the Antichrist. So he's currently going through a little bit of a midlife crisis.
Thought
Wife
it was his wife.
was wrong.
Just Ginger.
Just Ginger.
Does he have any relation to Reverend Lovejoy?
I think it's better if Reverend Lovejoy, being a reverend, has absolutely zero knowledge that the literal second coming of Jesus is present in Springfield. I think it's better that basically, as the second coming of Jesus, Ned Flanders doesn't really want to reveal himself because it wouldn't be the right thing to do. But at the same time, Reverend Lovejoy is just like, oh no, that's just Ned Flanders.
Right, Apu. Is the Quickie Market some kind of cosmic store of magical items or something stupid?
Well,
I think Apu might be the magic user.
That Apu had to be it was going to be consistently up against Snake.
Snake, who is cosmically bound to do evil, arms turn into Snake and can steal tattoos. All of which are pretty magical things, I'd say. So I think Apu being, and I know I don't want to steal a lot from the MCU, but being the Sorcerer Supreme, I think Apu fits very well. And to Sanctum Centauro, or whatever it is the Quickie Mart.
Powerful sorcerer. Sanctum
is Quickie Mart.
Is the Quickie Mart. What else?
I think that he might be the only character who doesn't originate from Springfield.
His Quickie Mart was like a gateway into this pocket.
He found his way in.
Yeah, he found his way in. And his Quickie Mart is like a TARDIS. It can transcend time and space.
To infiltrate Springfield.
Mm-hmm. That's also how Snake got in as well. He's also not from Springfield. He was battling Apu when he was traveling.
He sucked him in.
Exactly.
It was the only way he could win. Snake was about to kill him. Snake was finally about to steal all the shit from the Quickie Mart.
And that's why Snake...
in a sort of whirlpool of cosmic energy, he implodes the Quickie Mart and it spins into the pocket dimension with Snake
it's why
on
Snake
the roof.
was so nerfed, because he could get more powers if he stole more tattoos, but nobody in Springfield really has a tattoo, so he's effectively been nerfed by accidentally ending up in Springfield.
So they come from.
How many times we've used the words cosmically bound?
Oh, probably 7.
I don't think
cosmically bound.
Let me have a look.
Cosmic luck.
I'm seeing cosmically bound in Barney, I'm seeing Cosmic
There's one for
Bluff and
Ralph, isn't
Fancy,
there? Oh
and
no,
Cosmic-
Nelson.
It's only in
Nelson.
Snake and Barney.
Oh, Bound to School by Day. I didn't put Cosmically Bound. Okay.
We could put
So
Cosmically
does
Bound
Apu
to School
come
by
from
Day
like
if you
a-
want to.
Does Apu come from like a tattooed planet or like a tattooed dimension where everyone
He's trying to
has
steal his
tattoos?
magical
Snake
tattoos.
is actually the
Which is-
tattoo. There's actually the snake tattoo.
Snake is
There's-
actually one of Apu's tattoos brought to life.
I love it.
Covered in tats.
Can we go back and change Snake to be actually the cat? That explains why
Well, I
the
just put
character's
one-
yellow
one of which
because it's
was
from
Snake.
Springfield.
Wait, what?
That doesn't
So
make
basically,
sense, but-
because all the people in Springfield are yellow because they're Springfield characters. That's why Snake, despite not being from the Simpsons universe, is
Okay.
Or
yellow because
Carl.
he has.
Or Hibbert.
Yeah, I know, but
They're also black.
But I'm saying if they're from the rest of the world, there's not really any. They're not people who are strictly yellow from the rest of the world.
I see. Okay.
They
Yes.
just choose to be.
They just choose.
They choose to
be.
be. Powerful sorcerer.
What do you
rank
want?
sector.
Colour me
Don't
yellow.
character. Covered in tats, one of which was Snake. What's his actual powers, though?
I think he's. I see him as
Quick
a John
maths.
Constantine type, like a.
I don't know who that is.
He's the magic boy from Justice League Dark.
Are we just stuck with generic magic then? I hate generic magic because it's just I can do anything. Piss
It's
off.
not
Don't talk
generic
to me.
magic. Basically, his whole thing is that he's a very good sorcerer because he is able to swindle other magical entities out of. Basically, he has pacts with loads of cosmic and magical entities, where he's basically just a con man who cons magical entities out of their magic for his own use. And I think Apu works quite nicely with that. Apu basically through business.
That's why he came to
dealings,
Springfield.
has actually all of his magical abilities aren't innate. It's actually stuff from magical beings that he's basically kind of put out. That's why he's in Springfield, because he's trying to get a contract with Ralph Wiggum to be able to use some of his power, as he is the most powerful entity.
Right, all of
I
that
think he
down,
gets
Jamie.
yeah.
But we've
Basically,
got Mayor Quimby has election powers, friends with all the world leaders. But
yeah.
Which is
contradicts.
that's been
Our-
nerfed by Ralph
our
completely
law.
because there
I
is
think
no
Mayor Quimby
outside
Well, no,
state.
because Ralph can bring as needed
Yeah.
by the plot. Ralph can bring other anything
Other
in
world
to the
leaders,
pocket
yeah.
dimension. It just
Yeah.
does. It's not permanent like Springfield.
Yeah. It's basically anyone in the Springfield world can go anywhere, but when they go somewhere, Ralph Wiggum
They're not going
basically
anywhere.
Yeah.
drags it into this reality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you
Right. So
it
what
works.
actual
It's fine.
powers does
It
the
reads.
bloody
It reads. Don't think about
What-
it.
what does
any-
Apu do?
He swindles other superpowered individuals by making deals where he can borrow
But
their
what
abilities.
powers does he have?
That's his
how he got the
power.
powers.
His power is that
That's
he can
not
borrow.
a power.
He can swindle people out of their powers.
But
And
to do
evidently-
what with it? Like, what are the powers? Is what I'm saying.
Well, evidently he's got a load of. Basically, that's how I'm explaining his magic. Because before he came to Springfield, there was a load of other superpowered people he came across that he's got deals with.
Give me a single thing he can do that is cool, please.
Um,
Because I hate powerful sorcerer.
he can summon.
It's just so vague.
He can send people into the dimension of arms.
You got that from Doctor Strange.
Yes. He can send people. He can shrink people down and then store them in his toe hairs. And there's a whole microbiological world living in his.
It's going on.
He's got
Toe
athlete's foot. They're all athletes.
Has athlete's foot.
They're all athletes.
Can
That's
shrink
why there's
people.
no athlete characters in The Simpsons. He's shrunk them all down into his athlete's foot. Which is how he powers his super speed. He harnesses the powers of all the athletes in his athlete's foot to make him super fast. Which is how he's able to run one store
Can
by
shrink people
himself.
down and stores them on his feet to go
shrinks people down on his bodies,
super
and
fast.
whilst they're shrunk on his bodies, he can steal their powers.
I've run out of space.
Well, whatever you got.
Right. We're into the Simpsons.
We're into the end game now.
Right, before we actually do any of the Simpsons, I feel like we have to establish some kind of theme. Not necessarily like a theme in terms of the powers, but like what is the role that the Simpsons play in this sick and twisted world?
Well, Ralph Wiggum evidently has an unhealthy obsession with The Simpsons. Because he has
that's
based his entire world around the Simpson family. And I think that
Central axis.
Yeah. I think it's about that he thinks that Bart is the coolest guy in school, and his dad and mum are the coolest parents. And he went over for one sleepover, and he was like, this family's so cool. They started writing fan fiction about them because it's a reality warper. That's ended up becoming the show of The Simpsons. They can't write, but this is basically how he expresses himself creatively.
He's
He doesn't have
obsessing
another
over the
outlet.
Simpsons family.
Yes. He's like, let's say if you were somebody who had an obsession with Tony Stark Iron Man, and you wrote a load of stories about them, or like kind of thought a lot about them, he's basically kind of like doing his own headcanon with The Simpsons, which is where the show comes from.
Okay.
All pawns in the game. And I
So
think
Abe Simpson.
Abe Simpson is the oldest one. I think that he
Immortal?
is. Well, is that really an important
Oh,
power?
no
when
one-
Ralph
no one can
Simpson-
age.
No one can age.
No one can age.
I think that he
Has fought in every battle in history.
He has fought in every battle in history, and he has mental control over all elderly people. Which
Canna will summon any veteran to fight with him.
any
Martial arts expert.
What martial art?
All martial arts.
all of them.
He's fought, in
Knows
every, he's fought in every
all
war.
martial
Like any
arts.
superhero character. He's proficient in martial arts. Which one? He can do all of them. All of them.
course.
Sumo wrestling, he's got it.
What if he's just a sumo wrestler? Right, knows all martial arts. What else?
Has a utility cane. Like a utility belt, but it's all in the cane.
It's like one of those pencils where you slide the top bit out and
Yeah.
put it in the bottom.
It's a pen knife. Whoa! What's that?
Why stop at a
Nail
pen knife?
clippers?
It's a sword.
Shark repellent?
He needs crab repellent in this universe.
Mm.
Alright. Lisa Oh, wait, hang on. Maggie Simpson.
Simpson.
I
Has
feel like Maggie Simpson probably is quite powerful.
I think she has an ear-shattering scream, and that's why she always has a dummy.
Very
Yeah.
nice. Very nice.
Very good. Now, is that from the Simpsons game? Because we're getting to
No.
the playable characters from the Simpsons game.
I don't think Maggie is playable in that game. I think she is a ability of Marge's.
Right, has ear shattering scream, hence pacifier,
Shapeshifter.
shapeshifter. Okay, that's Jack.
Well, it's also Maggie Simpson from Treehouse of Horrors. she starts to become one of the aliens.
Oh, so you're stealing all the canon from all the play. Now, get out my house. Do an original thing.
Well, I'd
We've done
say
such
that,
original, weird stuff here. Come on.
she is able to shapeshift into any other Simpson character. Maggie's
She can't
actually the
talk.
character who is in most of the show, But she's always
Is
in the
all the
background as one of the
background
named characters who never speaks whilst they're in the background of a scene. You know,
She's
kind
all
of
the
the guy. You know, the
cameos.
guy who's always drunk in like the bar, like where you've got Barney, Lenny,
Barney.
Carl, and Homer, and on
Oh,
the
the one-
side
the
you
one
have
with the
like
hat.
the hat. That's actually Maggie.
Is actually, or Canton
Can teleport.
secretly
shapeshift.
also
Assume-
is
Can
man with
assume
hats.
multiple identities of various background characters in the Simpsons mythos.
Secretly assumes.
What Mo doesn't
roles
realise, she is actually half of
of-
the cult congregation. She can multiply.
characters.
There can be multiple Maggies at once. She makes up all of the background characters in the Simpsons.
We have a lot of central themes of like cosmic entities and like being bound to certain places, summoning armies, being multiple people.
Yeah.
I'm noticing a lot of things popping up recursively.
Well, you know, I think it's a cyclical nature. I don't think Ralph Wiggum is that original. And it's all comes
Maybe
from
that's
his
it.
mind, so...
Expert race car driver
She can be.
Why limit it to
wants.
race
can
car?
transform into a jet plane. Got aliens on speed dial.
Can
Has a
Can-
magic sword.
compel people to do commands using her blocks. So you know how you've got like the alphabet blocks? She can arrange them into commands for people, and if somebody reads it, they have to do that command.
Can command people through
Alphabet blocks.
alphabet blocks.
Superhuman strength. Got to give it to one person. Why not give it
Secretly
to the
hates
baby?
Ralph for never being able to grow up.
Yeah.
Or maybe, put it on its head, secretly loves Ralph because she can never grow up. Not like loves as
Grateful.
in like, yeah,
Grateful
kind of like admires Ralph.
for
Because a lot of people are trying to take down Ralph. I think it's an easy direction to make
Never.
everyone hate Ralph. I think having people who are happy with their
never
position,
aging.
because pretty much she can be all of the background characters. So she can live many lives outside of her own. And she's been given like,
Oh no.
oh, it's because you've written too much.
Okay. And secretly Ralph's ally.
An ally of R and ally of R, or
No, I could
ally
just put
of
Ralph's ally. Why would I do that?
Ralph's ally. Just trying to think how to put it in. Like Lisa Simpson.
Dingus.
Now I don't want
Right.
to take stuff from the video game, but Lisa probably has the sickest ability, which is she can summon the Buddha, and I think Lisa being
So
able to
it-
summon the Hindu gods.
Oh, she's
Slash
yeah,
the
she's
Buddha.
a monk.
She has
Yeah.
she has psychic Buddha powers in the game.
I think being
Well,
able
she's
to
definitely a
summon
super
the
monk.
Hindu gods and Buddha.
No, what if she just ascended and didn't tell anyone?
Yeah, she's enlightened. She can summon the Hindu gods. I think
Has achieved
enlightenment
enlightenment.
through jazz. It's what people have never made the connection of. It's why it's only her that's become enlightened.
Through jazz.
Why Ralph had to kill off the other jazz guy because he got eliminated from the canon because he was too powerful.
magical
for his power.
saxophone
Magical saxophone can summon the
The-
Hindu god.
calms people.
That calms people. Really want summoning because I you know, the thing I've got from the Simpsons game is when like the big Buddha hand comes down and like does
Yeah.
like grabs
Move
people and
things
smashes stuff up.
around.
I think summoning
Summon the
Hindu
gods into Ralph's dimension.
into Ralph's dimension. Passive,
You could do a sick ass D&D one shot in this fucking world.
passive, ecologically friendly. Passive ecological.
What if she's like
minded
she's like
guy.
she has the spirit of Gaia or something, or like she
is
She's
a reincarnation of Gaia,
Mother Earth.
reincarnation of Mother Earth.
Yeah.
Is Gaia reincarnated? Full control of Millhouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, Millhouse is her lackey.
Her simp.
Yeah.
Okay. Bart Simpson.
Eat shorts. That's where he gets his powers from. It's from his shorts. He has to eat them.
Eat shorts
To
for power. What does he get? What powers does he get?
Infinite
Skateboard,
pockets.
but only in the
Anything
fourth
can be a
dimension.
pocket, and he can get anything out of the pockets because his shorts have that many pockets on them. They're cargo shorts. Everything's
Has
a
infinite
pocket. It's why he keeps getting slingshots.
Every
in
time
the middle
he
of
eats the
scenes.
shorts, he gains that many pockets
That
on
many
his
pockets.
on his shorts.
No, he can just anything that he doesn't look into, he can turn into a pocket, and he can get anything out of his pockets. He has like a magical pocket ability.
Has infinite pockets.
It's infinite pockets.
Eat shorts for power.
Eat shorts for power. Proficient in all weaponry.
And all weapons.
Though he
Can't
does
be
specialise in the
strangled.
slingshot.
Can't be strangled.
Can't be strangled. Doesn't need,
Unstrangleable.
maybe doesn't breathe, so he can go underwater.
Doesn't breathe.
Doesn't breathe. That's why the strangling doesn't work. Just puts on a show.
Doesn't breathe. One more for good measure.
Can recede the spikes from his head into his skull and then cause spikes to appear from his head underneath people's feet.
Has detachable spikes.
You can throw him like little
He's
shit.
a porcupine.
The little
He can
projectiles.
He's a porcupine. When he gets into a threatened circumstance, all the spikes from his head just burst out and go into people. But it has got a delay of it takes a minute to regrow them.
Super porcupine.
Super porcupine. I feel like we need to give him something to be on par with Lisa.
Yeah, they all should be very powerful.
You know?
I mean, infinite pockets is pretty good, especially
Yeah.
if he's got a proficiency in all weapons.
Mhm.
It's like you try and attack him, he just like reaches into the walls, pulls out two machine guns.
Mhm. Unstoppable mischief.
Unstoppable. Unstoppable mischief.
Like, he can get caught for detention stuff, but whilst he's in the act of creating mischief, he cannot be stopped. If he's graffitiing
He's the best skateboarder in the world.
best
Better than
skateboarder,
Tony
always
Hawk's.
been. Yeah. Sure,
That seems like a fair few things.
Yep.
He's got a lot of stuff. He's not amazing at anything. He's just got a lot of useful stuff.
Yeah.
He's like Star-Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright. I had an idea for Marge Simpson earlier. I wonder
Yeah.
what you think. You know how she's always hiding shit in her hair?
Yeah.
I think... Have you ever seen the Mighty Boosh episode where there's those two fuckers wandering around the desert looking for the hidden sound? One of them's got a
Yeah.
door in his afro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think she's got a portal in her hair that she hides to, and I'm not sure, I haven't figured out what yet, but it's got to be something blue.
I think that
Maybe the outside. It's the only permanent gateway in or out.
It's
like,
how
the
the
pocket
poo
dimension.
got in through her hair.
yeah.
He flew
Along
this
with the entire
quickie
quickie
mark
mark.
through her hair.
Possesses the only...
It's a glitch in Ralph's Matrix.
I want
Gateway.
Of Springfield.
I want Marge to be
To
just
Springfield.
a quintessential eldritch deity.
She's like the goddess of motherhood and shit.
Yeah. only feeds on eggs.
And potatoes.
Personification of motherhood.
Forcibly
Big ass sword. I'm gonna put that in capitals.
Forcibly
Got a big ass
becomes
sword.
other characters' character arcs.
She what?
Forcibly becomes other people's character arcs. She has power over the narrative. So you know how Homer episodes, Homer will be
Ralph's
doing
the only
something,
one with
and
the
then
power over the
halfway
narrative.
through the episode, it will suddenly be that Marge is kind of the focus of the story, and Homer trying to rekindle the relationship with Marge.
Protagonist.
Marge is like the one character who is able to manipulate within Ralph's thing the narrative, which makes her scary. She forces character arcs upon people. She's able
Hasn't got full narrative control. Has
partial narrative control.
Partial narrative power.
Ralph's right hand woman.
Fights the forces of evil.
No. I think Marge is certainly an eldritch entity in and of itself, and is certainly.
Well, how does she relate to her sisters?
I think
one of them's dead. And
So we have one of them is a ghost who is killed by the other in a horrific tragedy, can summon the dead, amassing army of the night to besiege the Simpsons' residence. Siggy's the source of power.
Maybe she is death. That's how they're able to summon from the dead, because Marge is literally the Grim Reaper, and therefore
personification of motherhood and death.
And death.
So we have several horsemen of the apocalypse.
Yeah.
I love how we start. Can we just go back to the beginning where we said that Professor Frink was the most powerful Simpvenger?
Potentially.
He has the potential to be if he wasn't so anxious all the time.
If he wasn't so anxious.
So what would he be if he wasn't so anxious?
Well, he could overpower anyone.
He could overpower
He just physically
Ralph.
has the most power. But all of these creatures could
Frink effectively has just like a cap on all of his abilities that is just his incredible anxiety.
So he would be Goku if he wasn't anxious.
He is an average
So if you give this fucker
person, and
Xanax,
he has massive amounts of
he's
anxiety
terrifying.
that he continually stutters. Imagine if he was 1% more confident. He could destroy the entirety of Springfield. That is how powerful he is. You think Ralph's powerful? Wait until you get the full force of Professor Jonathan Frink.
Omega Frink.
Omega Frink.
The final Frink. Right, has partial narrative power. We've got possesses the only gateway to Springfield in her hair.
It doesn't need to be a big ass sword. I think that's a little bit generic. Big ass sword.
I think she just likes using it because she thinks.
Yeah,
I can't make
it's
that
just. I just think it's neat.
I just think that's such a Marge Simpson quote. I just think it's neat.
I just think it's neat. Right, has partial narrative power. What's the last thing? One more thing we'll give her. She's Marge Simpson. She better be powerful. Matrix of leadership. Awesome.
We're really pulling things back from.
I just had a quick think back to be like, is that from the Forbidden episode? That you had to cut for being quote unquote the fruit was too raunchy.
We need to keep referring to the Lost Fruit episode.
Yeah, we did.
We do it all episode, of the. We do it every single one.
It got way too hot and steamy. Everyone ended up naked. It was way too sexual.
It's better than the real reason it's not uploaded.
What do you mean? That is the real reason that it's not uploaded.
Exactly.
It was too.
Finally, Homer Simpson.
Homer Simpson. Quantum stupidity.
What does that define? Come on, define that.
His stupidity funnels quantum ability, so he is able to force quantum superposition, and it is powered by his absolute stupidity. In fact, he can bend the rules of the quantum world to his whim, and it is entirely powered by how stupid he is. And the scary thing, he gets stupider by the episode. Due to the flanderization effect.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Quantum stupidity. I spelled quantum stupidity. That is itself stupid.
Maybe, can we go back to Ned and just quickly type in seeking Antichrist using flanderization? Because I feel like he should
Sanctified
have...
Antichrist using flanderization.
Yeah. Because I feel like if anyone's going to use flanderization, it's got to be Ned Flanders, the person who it's named after.
Okay.
Yeah. Quantum
stupidity.
I think already I've given him an insanely powerful ability.
Infinite mass.
Infinite mass.
Mass of has the mass of 1,000 suns.
Or maybe instead of mass, maybe it's density. Because the density would affect the mass anyway. But it allows him to maintain the same volume.
If he has, but if he has the mass of 1,000 suns within his volume of just being Homer, then his density is going to be greater than than those 1,000 suns.
I guess
he'd be a black hole.
Yeah, maybe more than a black hole, I'm sure. Be some unheard of black hole that's never quite seen never seen.
Breaks laws of physics because he doesn't really turn into a black hole a lot in the show.
Well, seeing as he's the main character, maybe he's the singularity.
Yeah, I was going to say, is he the singularity that Ralph first spawned the entirety of Springfield out of?
To begin with, there was nothing, and then Ralph said, "Let there be Simpson," and Homer was born.
Ralph said, "Let there be Simpson." We started trying to make the SIMPVENGERS.
We've ended up sidetracking from superpowers into an eldritch horror Simpson universe.
The first ones are so chill by comparison. The first one is powered by the moon, never sleeps, can divert moon juice into others to make them werewolves. And then the last one we did was possesses the gateway to Springfield in her hair, personification of motherhood and death, big ass sword in all caps, has partial narrative power, matrix of leadership.
This is why I wanted to start. This is why I wanted to end with the Simpsons, because I knew
I'm so glad you did.
It would be odd if we started with Homer and
Fat
Bart
Tony
having
was
the normal, and Fat Tony was.
Fat Tony ferries the souls of the dead to the underworld, or something ridiculous.
I mean, it's not. If you want to go back, you can always give him that ability.
No, I like it because we've got all the complete nobodies as medium power level getting ridiculous. I love just look at the words widen as you go up, the size of the descriptions.
I just love.
Alright. Okay, quantum stupidity is the singularity.
It's the singularity. Founder of Duff Beer. Which would explain how they have the wealth to do everything in every episode, and we can just explain the episode where they don't have enough wealth to do something. Is when Duff kind of had to sell a load of stocks due to a bad market crash.
What are you on about?
I thought Ralph controlled the status quo, so surely any money that they spend in an episode is kind of undone by the end of the episode.
Money is functionally meaningless.
Yeah.
Because Ralph doesn't give a shit about money. He just likes The Simpsons.
Ralph's a triangle.
Ralph's a triangle. And Ralph is a triangle.
Ralph is the triangle.
The true Ralph is simply a triangle.
Come on, everybody. Let's do what Benedict Cumberbatch taught us. The Illuminati symbol.
It's just a triangle.
How is this the Benedict Cumberbatch taught us?
Because we actually responded to his email last time, didn't we? It turns out he was onto something with this whole Illuminati.
Honestly, we've done enough of these now that I don't remember.
What?
That was literally the last episode. It was a week ago, you two.
What did we do?
At the end of the episode, I said I got an email from Benedict Cumberbatch.
I haven't quite finished editing it.
I have to
I'm
be
right at the end.
You can
I haven't
only
actually got to that
remember
bit.
when editing a video.
I mean, I don't. We do a
I didn't
lot of
know-
these. They all blend
What,
together.
what do you
It's just
mean
us
you're
being
editing
idiots.
them? Have you like been making a record of all of like our podcast ideas?
This right here, listeners, is what I like to call lazy fiction. Anyway, back to this.
I'll ask you about that during the end. Probably.
Or when I inevitably run off and you have something
Inevitably run off and have something to do, and we talk about. I shouldn't say actually. Spoil. I don't want to
I love
forward the
lazy
plot so
fiction,
quick.
man. It's so good. Right. Quantum stupidity is the singularity. For some reason, we have founder of Duff Beer in there.
Pound of stuff. Yeah.
What else? It's hard to give Homer stuff. He doesn't.
Yeah. I feel like just him being somewhat limited
Controls
in
the
what he can
house.
actually do is, or like having less powers is kind of a power within itself, and why he's the
I think he is
protagonist.
able. Have you seen the movie Monster House?
I have.
And you know how the Monster House has a lot of wacky stuff. Well, I imagine Homer
It's a
has the
girl
ability
house.
to control the house. You can control the house to do similar thing from the movie Monster House.
Okay.
Control.
You know, just stuff like, you know, eat
I'm just
children.
I'm gonna put in
who are
quotes.
going by,
Man of the house.
Mm.
We know what it means.
Destined to.
He's
Tech
either
realm.
going to save or destroy
Det-
Springfield from.
Destined to usher in the second age of Springfield.
Yeah, to keep it ambiguous for the fans.
For the second episode we do about this.
Everyone just goes, "Oh, guys, what do you think's gonna happen? Is Homer gonna save the world or destroy it, or something else?" There's gonna be so many fan theories. God, I can't wait until this podcast gets to episode 5 and get some solid.
Well, no, this is how
understanding
the
of
Simpsons will actually one day end.
Oh yeah, so
Is with all of this. We're just
they're all
this is just us
flanderizing to
predicting
these
the future.
stereotypes. This is where
They will
they're all
eventually
ending
become
up.
this. Yeah. Just wait until Lisa starts like ascending
Mhm.
and getting enlightened, and then
Through
it'll all
jazz.
begin. We have the first Simpvenger opposite of Captain America, staring at me as a testament to how far off the rails we've
Yeah.
driven.
I think own Cerberus, also AKA Santa's Little Helper, and Charon, AKA Snowflake. What's the number now? 4, 5.
Yeah.
It's Snowflake 1, then 2, and then there's an episode where they go from 2 to like 7 or 8.
Yeah.
Wait, hang on. Why? Marge is the personification of motherhood and death.
Yeah,
Surely she should have Cerberus and Charon.
that's why she's married to Homer.
Fair enough. I'm taking it. Yep.
Where one bring life, other bring death. Doe.
Marge giveth, Homer taketh away. Doe. We're going to start a cult for this episode.
Maybe that's what we do next episode. We
We have that on the list somewhere, don't
If
we? I'm
this
pretty
one
sure.
doesn't go through, we should definitely try and make a cult using something.
No, because you know what happens on the internet if you try and start a cult?
A coat.
You'll-
They all try
You'll
and wear it.
succeed. That's what will happen.
Yeah.
And then it just comes to a cinema where a coat with around about 50 individuals from the internet all in it trying to get into Trolls 2 because it's an 18.
Lord, okay. Well, this is a list.
It's a list. I've got one question.
What's the question?
If you could be anyone on that list, who would you be?
Oh, damn. Not Ralph, that's for sure.
Not Ralph. It's too much pressure.
There's too many enemies.
Too many enemies. None of them are good. I've got to be honest.
None of them are good.
Also, how does Chalmers fit in now, or is just Nick Fury?
It's just
Has
Nick
all of
Fury.
the eyes, including Nelson's.
Yeah.
Known as the eye keeper of the eyes.
Yeah, he's basically. I reckon he goes up to. He's getting the simpvengers together to. Eventually, the end goal is to stop them.
Well,
Stop.
How many of these are simpvengers, and how many of them are just like entities?
Well,
Yeah.
fortunately, we can colour them in. We could colour them in.
Okay, that's what we should do. We should go through all of them and decide
And-
which ones are destined to be simpvengers. I don't think all of them are either or.
There you go. We'll do a light blue for the simpvengers. So evidently,
So
Millhouse
all the Simpsons.
are
yeah.
they? I think it would be interesting if maybe the kids are, but the parents aren't.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe
Like
Marge
Bart
is-
and
Okay.
Lisa
Oh.
are. I think
Yep. Maggie doesn't. She's
Maggie
too
doesn't.
too.
I feel like Maggie
too
tags
sort of
along
powerful.
every now and then, but it's kind of like tags in, tags out of the Simpvenger.
you have
Avengers.
Captain. I don't want to anger any Marvel fans, but you have Captain America, who was there, but realistically,
Does he
Is-
actually do anything?
is he actually that? If he wasn't there and now it's another superhero, would things change greatly? I'm not talking about him getting rid of S.H.I.E.L.D. in his own movies and such. I'm saying within the Avengers specifically.
You
I
could
would
sub
argue
in literally any
equally-
character,
Whereas
and
I
it would
think
function the same.
Thor and Iron Man are a little bit more
Do a
important.
thing.
And I think Millhouse is Captain America, whereas Bart and Lisa are Tony Stark and Thor.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Okay. Abe Simpson's probably an Avenger, a Simpvenger.
Ape Simpson. I also think Apu might be.
Apu, yeah, definitely, yeah. I don't. Do you think Ned Flanders is? I think he'd make sense to be one.
Yeah.
Patty and Selma are not.
No.
Mo is
isn't.
not. Barney is not.
No.
Barney isn't. Carl and Lenny
Carl
are
and
not.
Lenny?
They're working for
No.
Ralph.
Yeah,
No,
no.
yeah. Mr. Burns?
No.
Is definitely a villain.
He's yeah.
As is
But he can't do anything.
Smithers.
Smithers is the real villain there, who uses his kaiju's.
Skinner?
Skinner.
What did we say for
Can
Skinner?
localize. Yeah, sure. He doesn't have anything that's like definitely
No.
not.
He's the person they go to when Edna gets out of control. He was definitely.
I don't know if do you think Edna is, or do you think Edna's like a sort of ambivalent character?
I think Edna's one that keeps switching sides more for personal
She
gain.
plays the field.
Yeah.
Nelson's not an Avenger, but he's like one of the TV superheroes.
He's a
He's a bad guy.
Jones.
Can only see fear, hunts by night.
Oh yeah, he is an
He's
Elder.
like a low end villain. He's like a lower he'd be
Groundskeeper
like an individual
Williams.
film villain as opposed to one of the big bads.
I think Groundskeeper Willie is one because he's just Beowulf.
Beowulf,
Yeah.
of course. Although it doesn't really stand up to like any of the others,
Yeah.
just being some.
I don't
Dude.
think Krusty, Sideshow Bob, or Meg.
No way, no way.
No.
Quimby,
No, because he's the dad of Ralph, so I feel like he's
no, Quimby's not. Wiggum is.
Wiggum's.
yeah,
the
Wiggum
Ralph.
is, and I think Quimby's kind of like the Thunderbolt Ross.
Yeah, I was just gonna say he's
He's
the
starting the
political-
Sokovia
he's-
records.
Yeah.
He plays the field. Yeah. Wiggum is
Reverend-
Stormtrooper aim, makes up for it for Cosmic Land. Yeah, he's Wiggum's definitely
No,
definitely a
because
Simpvenger.
he's the dad of Ralph, who is where they're all heading towards.
But he doesn't know necessarily. I feel like Wiggum would not realise.
He's kind of like Nebula, where it is not an Avenger, but ends up helping the Avengers at the end.
Okay, I like that, and I
Reverend-
like how it's weirdly reversed.
Yeah, Reverend Lovejoy, I think so. I think it's also quite funny
Yeah.
to have both Ned and the Reverend on last night of them are.
Hibbert
I think might.
has to be.
Yeah,
He's just a shit one. Yeah.
I think
He's the
Hibbert
Hawkeye of
and
the
comic
group.
book guy.
He's
are
the Hawkeye.
both.
Comic book guy can summon anyone who has ever appeared on
On
Korean
Korean
TV to
TV
his
show.
aid. Cannot speak Korean. Sure. Jonathan Frink, super everything. Yeah, he's got to be on there.
I think Frank's
No,
got to.
because he's got super anxiety. I don't think he has the confidence to join.
Are we really taking a stance that anyone who has mental health issues shouldn't be on?
No, I'm not saying that.
Squads?
I'm just thinking that he probably has an inferiority complex, even though they've come to him. It's like, no, honestly, I don't think I'm
So he's
good
like the
enough
Hulk?
to join. Yeah, he's like the Hulk. And
He
maybe,
still joins in the end, though. You know it.
I guess though, yeah.
It's-
Can't have
it's-
Snake
it's
on
his story arc
because
to
You
get
can't have
around.
Snake.
can't have Snake, Fat Pony and the
And
Weremat.
Can't have Fat Tony.
So basically, the
So now we do the red ones, and then we leave the neutral people as
Can you
white,
quickly click
and
off
we do the red
Homer
ones
so
as
I
red.
can read the
Eh?
superpowers. Just because
What
whilst
you say?
you haven't pressed enter on Homer, so it's not updated here
Oh, apologies.
in my screen. I think Homer, Marge, and Maggie are all evil. Actually, Homer isn't orange. He's a yellow. He's an ambivalent. He could go either way, because that's kind of what it's.
I think
Marge and
is
Maggie
evil.
are evil.
I think Lenny and Carl have also got to be evil because they're under Ralph. They just work
As-
for Ralph.
Patty and Selma and Mo.
Very evil.
Patty and Selma and Mo are both evil, but not associated with the same group as like Ralph, Marge, Lenny. And
Yeah,
Carl.
yeah,
They're
yeah,
their
yeah.
own,
But
they're
they're
their
still
own
villains.
evils. Yeah,
We'll put them
Barney
as
is-
orange.
they're like a secondary
Wait,
villain.
hang on. I'm confused by the right. Then surely Marge is like an orange as well, because she's not evil. She's just like another force in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So you have red is the Ralph clan, orange is the
Like just.
and don't worry,
entities.
audio viewers, we're going to go over this at the end once you've decided it. So currently we
Is
have
Barney really one way or the other, or is he just kind of someone who chills in the background and doesn't want to get involved because he knows too much?
Maybe he's completely. Wait, so
Ye-
what do we have for ambivalent? That was yellow. Yellow
Yellow.
is
Okay.
neutral.
Mr.
It's just
Burns,
because Homer
Wayne
is kind of
Smithers.
like either going to.
I don't think Mr.
one way or
Burns
the
is
other,
evil necessarily.
whereas
Mr. Burns might be an orange.
Mr. Burns is an orange, and are we saying Smithers is working for
Smithers is red. Smithers is full evil.
evil? Edna Crabapple is a yellow. I think we decided earlier.
Yellow.
Kind of
Yeah,
the middle
yellow.
of the ground. Nelson is an red. I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Ralph, I'm going to put as a dark red with white text because he's like the ringleader.
He's the original evil. Krusty might be on the same level as Ralph, to be honest.
Ralph.
True evil. Sideshow Bob obviously is also up there.
Sideshow
Why
Bob.
is Superintendent purple?
Because he's the only. He's technically not an Avenger. He's technically building the Avengers. I think Sideshow Bob's just a red, not a Not
Okay,
a
okay, fine.
deep red.
Infinite Spite is not automatically like a yeah, fine.
Mayor
Mayor
Quimby
Quimby is just like a
is it
yellow.
yellow. He kind of plays both sides, I think.
Yeah,
Um,
he's yellow, surely.
Yellow. Yeah, Chief Clancy Wiggum is yellow.
Snake is orange.
Snake is orange.
I think the last two are both oranges, or maybe even reds. I'm not sure.
I don't know. I think Tony might be a. He might be a yellow, similar to Wiggum, who is a villain, but kind of redeems himself later. Like in the bit where, like, when Ralph is glowing white out of his eyes and destroying Springfield down the street, they're like, we don't have enough time. You see Fat Tony come out with his Welsh, just like, don't worry, we'll hold him off. And they go down the alleyway and you instantly hear a load of screams and body parts fall out of the way. And it hasn't done anything to slow Ralph down. He's still coming.
Oh my god. Okay. What a list.
What a list. And I think really there's no real argument on the decisions that we've made there.
Nope.
It's all
All
correct.
factual, all internally
I-
consistent.
Cannot wait
All right.
for the boys at top and girls and whatever else is up there. I don't know, I've never left this room. To see what we have cooking here, because If last week we were cooking with gas, this is a chip pan fire. It's gone full blown crazy with this one. And I think that's really what they've said last time, is that a lot of our content's been too normal.
Too
so I'm
mainstream.
really excited to
So it exercised our narrative chaotic
sent me a
juices.
little parcel. Would show you the front,
Oh.
but I don't think the company would appreciate seeing the address.
No.
So we'll just keep it like this. Let's have a quick look inside. And apparently, and you guys aren't going to believe this, and I can't believe neither of you mentioned this to begin with, but when I said The Simpsons was the youngest out of all of them, like Family Guy and American Dad, I was wrong. Actually, it's the
what?
oldest. And apparently,
Oh my god.
I mean,
I've kind of spurred up an old lawsuit around kind of like, is Family Guy a copy of The Simpsons? And it's kind of become this whole big thing in the legal world, and just kind of being like, it's not a James Cameron situation, we're not going to have to bail you out, but like,
It's a
best
bit
to
too
stop
hot right
here
now.
because it's a bit too much of a hot button topic. Apparently it came out in the James Cameron kind of lawsuit that's currently happening, that basically he's kind of used the classic classic sideshow Bob.
James Cameron's Simpsons.
Yeah, it's the old sideshow Bob defense of they're actually just suing me because they have infinite spite, which is kind of brought in kind of the thing of like, is the sideshow Bob defense actually correct? Discussions about the Chewbacca response, which is like kind of tied in South Park to it all. It's just become this huge animation world debacle, which has kind of been an extension of the whole James Cameron appearing out of the depths and that ongoing lawsuit against our card game. So turns out not
Well,
gonna
man,
go out.
we just
this
can't do
time.
anything right.
Can't do
I'm
anything.
We'll get it
demoralised,
right.
gotta
We'll
say.
get it right one day. One day we'll
We'll get it
One
right
day.
one day. One day. Anyway, you were saying that you were editing them. I want to get to the bottom of this. You said during the podcast you were editing these videos, and I said I'd get to
Yeah,
the
it's just a
bottom.
personal project of mine. You know, just have
Personal
fun with it,
project.
Yeah.
Putting it on your own personal blog,
Yeah, sort of like something like
on
that.
your
something
Tumblr.
like
No way anyone
I
can see
understand.
them though.
that. Yeah.
Well,
It's that
good news
breach of
is
contract.
that, even though nobody's going to see this episode, I got that sponsorship.
What's the sponsorship? Hit us up. Come
And
on.
this time we have Diffland Spray, benzamine
Favourite segment of
hydrochloride
the
for
podcast
the treatment
every
of
time.
painful and sore throats
So fun.
and throat conditions.
Just
so-
read the back of a packet.
Read the back of the packet. Diffland
Fuck yeah.
Spray, benzene dimine hydrochloride.
I love a bit of
for
Diffland spray.
treatment-
I could
because
I could
both
do with some.
both sides are exactly the same.
Hell yeah.
Except this
I think
side.
more boxes should do that.
Yeah. If I pick up a box and accidentally look at the back, I want to be able to see the front.
I
Best
want to be
bit is,
confused by the
Now-
topology.
you might be wondering, how does this work? Well, you give it a shake, and I have a sore throat, so I can actually take this right now. But I should quickly check how much I'm supposed to have.
So you can have like
4 to
4 to 8 or
8
something ridiculous.
puffs, yeah. Oh, wait a
Pharmaceutical king, me. I know everything.
second. Yeah. And it hasn't done
This is fun.
anything. Brilliant. Well, I'll figure that out off air. Obviously, I have to like click something, but it didn't do any different spray. for my
Plug your
throat.
stuff, you idiot.
Anyway, I've got stuff to plug.
Plug it.
Twitch, YouTube, Astral Fisher. It's all there. It's not happening.
Links in the description down below.
Should be happening when this episode's out. It will be happening when this episode's out. I've just got to pop some pictures in the schedule. and then
Fuckers
it is
putting it off.
done.
That schedule
It will be
is
done
taking-
tonight. It's gonna be done. It's done tonight. I've taken
You
the
had
pictures.
the
There is
excuse
no
of like
excuse.
you were promising it was done 2 weeks ago,
Yeah.
and it was like, well, it's fine because those episodes are going to go out in 2. You still haven't done it.
It's in 2 weeks' time. That's fine. But this is 2 weeks later, and as long as I get it
This is
done
1 week
tonight,
later.
as long as I get it done tonight, then technically I said it during the.
No, because
very steamy episode that got cancelled.
You did also say
Yeah,
it
that's
in the.
You said it in every other one.
Every other one
And
since.
the other ones, Jesus.
Now he's not
But
remembering
it's
what
getting
happened
done
in these
tonight. So
podcasts.
actually, it's going to be done tonight, and then it's going to be up on the Twitch. I would be doing a stream tomorrow, but I am gone during the day tomorrow. I have to go somewhere and do a thing and then return. But other than that, it'll be pretty snazzy. Also, you know, I mentioned another D&D thing. So currently on the TheKimberLeague YouTube channel, we haven't got any podcasts. I've not been able to check it because I've not been on there. But hopefully the podcast should end up there whenever it does get released. Also, my identical twin is in a D&D show with the wonderful Jacko W, the wonderful Herixia, the wonderful Around 10%, and the wonderful Med eventually. I don't know whether he's going to be joining. Don't know.
I
Don't
don't
know.
think you can make that claim right now.
Don't know. I can claim that might happen potentially.
I'm going to have to put a little redacted over the bit that you just said there.
Little redacted. That's a little bit fine. But yeah, I think that's around about everything I have to talk about.
Yeah, make sure to. Oh well, I mean it will be gone by the time this episode airs, but the next episode of that is going to be fucking stupendous.
Gonna be great.
It's not gonna be great,
From what I
it's gonna be a
hear, because I've not
mistake.
been able to see it or watch it or be in it because I'm trapped to this green box.
I love your clinging to this fiction. It's so
Yeah.
good.
This
Matt,
Well,
Anyway,
your thing.
How's those
Episode
LinkedIn's going?
5?
And at the end, I'll go over what I got in my email.
I
LinkedIn.
don't know. The LinkedIn's there.
Don't know.
There's no
That'll do.
interactions.
Go and look at my things.
Someone will
They're
hire me one day.
here, essentially. I sometimes do surprise streams on Twitch, so give us a follow. And
Then you can
there's
know
a
when the
bot
stream's
account
up.
on Twitter if you fancy it.
Mhm.
But mostly it's just this nonsense and the other
Mm-hmm.
YouTube thingies, like the Fluty Filibusters Merry Escapades. Escapades they are
Mhm.
indeed, currently. Christ, I've got so much shit to do for that episode. Anyways. You have a thing?
Yeah, emails this week. Jesus Christ. I know I said to like stop with the pictures in terms of like horrible animals and send the cute animals and stop sending horrible stuff. People really took that to heart this week. So I've just been sent a load of pictures of cardboard, which is, I mean, it's not really anything. You know, I'd like pictures of something interesting. Thank you very much, but not disgusting. And Benedict, thank you for letting us join the Illuminati. Very kind of you.
Oh yeah.
However,
tight as hell, man.
I think
Yeah.
I think the fees that we have for
Homer giveth, Marge
the
taketh
fact that I'm
away.
putting 30 quid into the Illuminati and all I'm getting out of it is 15 quid Olive Garden vouchers sucks, especially because there is no
Look, man,
Olive Garden
it's
in
tough
Siberian
times.
wastes of
It's
the
tough
UK,
times.
and
The
I-
Illuminati's not the organisation it used to be.
Yeah, I think it's really gone downhill.
Really
ever
is a
since
pyramid
Benedict
End
was
the
in charge of
podcast.
advertising. Yeah. But yeah.
Goodbye.
Good-
He's got one liner
Goodbye.
to finish.
And
We've got
when
one
we
more.
go, when we say goodbye, we know that good old Mr. Pot is going to play us out with a little improvised song.
Oh,
It's
God.
not. It's
yeah,
10.
oh, I
So
can't wait. He's going to improvise a little song.
it's gonna be so loud.
He's going to improvise a
I
little
feel bad for you.
song.
Yeah.
Oh, he's going to
Very
improvise a
quiet.
little song. He's going to wake up all of its parents. Wow, that was amazing. Oh, he's not starting.
That'll do.
done.
Stop there.
Yeah,
End on a good note.
Brilliant. There we go.
Alright.